Hey everybody, I'm your man Dennis Pitzenbarger here, SEMA 2019 with my man JR Granatelli in the Granatelli Motor Sports booth. And as always, you're bringing great new products to make cars faster, cooler, and sometimes even sound better.
So we're really happy to launch a new line of exhaust cutouts that takes your car from mild to wild when it comes to sound. Also, we have V-Bands and a really new line of oval tubing.
All right, JR, let's start off with the V-Bands. Tell me all about them.
So traditionally, a V-band is pretty simple. You take two pieces of metal, male, female, if you will, put them together, and there's a round clamp that goes around it. We took that a little bit further, and we decided that we were going to make a unique, as I call it, male-female interjecting piece. So now you have a rib on one side and a receiver groove on the other. So now when the clamps go together, they literally lock into each other. And then what happens is when you put the V-band around it, or the clamp itself, it's really just holding the two pieces together. So you're not relying on the clamp to give you that pinching force. The two pieces are actually butted together. They're actually making the seal itself. We also offer what's called a traditional flat flange, and that's where the two pieces just slide back and forth. Flat flange is good for what most guys do because when it gets hot, you can always still slide it to fit each other. I don't want to call it the downside, but the downside of the male-female is that it locks in for perfection, but when it's hot, it's harder to reintegrate it. So it really comes down to when you install it and take it apart.
What's going to be the advantage of your style V-Bands to, say, the competition out there?
So the beauty of our V-Bands, again, is that they're interlocking. That's pretty unique to us. And also, we use 6061 aluminum when it comes to using them on the intake side with an O-ring. And then on the discharge side, specific to exhaust, we're using obviously good virgin 304 stainless, and it's easy to weld. A lot of times when you're putting exhaust V-Bands together, they bubble, if you will. A lot of guys use 409 because it's easier to weld, but the reality of this 304 just welds perfectly clean, and it's just stronger and it lasts forever. That's what makes us unique.
Now let's talk about the oval tubing. Now that's one of the things that as people get farther and farther into their builds, they realize I don't have space. Now this is not only for a space, but also for a performance application. Tell me about it.
So a lot of guys don't realize that a 3-inch round tube will not flow as much as a 3-inch oval. You would think, well, it's 3 inches, but the way the sound waves of the exhaust go through, then it's called reversion. By squishing the pipe down, we essentially take a 3-inch round circle and we make that 2.25 tall by 4.15 wide. And by making that wider, the sound waves can go through there faster, and essentially it increases the flow of the exhaust. Sounds simple, but it's kind of a black science.
And JR, one of the things that's great about this new oval tubing is not only the way it flows, but also the different configurations.
Yeah, so it's called the X plane and the Y plane, but in English what that means is vertical to the ground and horizontal. What makes our product unique is that with our oval tubing, yeah, it can run vertical like you would see traditionally under a car, but also the horizontal plane means we can get over the top of the axle. So traditionally what's happened is that when a guy runs oval tubing to get extra ground clearance, they have to go back to round to get over the axle. We've designed a complete set of components that allows you to go up, down, left, right, and over the axle, all in oval tubing, so you keep it concentric.
And lastly, let's talk about the cutouts. Now, personally, I already have a set of your cutouts. I know the quality's there, but people need to know why they're so much better and different.
So when we made the exhaust cutout, we recognized the number one problem with exhaust cutouts is that when you hold the switch to open and close it, it's kind of like a doorbell. You hit the button and then the valve only moves the distance of where you're holding the button. What we did is we put what's called a one-touch switch. So we use this kind of like a TPS, a throttle positioning sensor. So with our design, when you flip the switch one time, it uses a 0 to 5 volt reference to fully open and fully close the valve. And by doing that, it doesn't stress the gears. So you can get hundreds of thousands of trouble-free mile without the valve making that typical pss, 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 like exhaust leak noise. We've eliminated that by using our one-touch switch with a TPS.
All right, well, my friend, whether it's oval tubing, whether it's the V-Bands, or whether it's the cutouts, which I love on my particular vehicle, if people want more information, they got to get their hands on it. Where do we send them?
GranatelliMotorsports.com.
You heard the man, GranatelliMotorsports.com. This is SEMA 2019.